The Hyatt Corporation presents Inclusion for Us All, a Dr. Martin Luther King Day celebration honoring civil rights leader Jesse L.Jackson Sr. Moderating tonight's show is veteran news journalist Ms. Robinson, Vice President of Global Diversity and Inclusion with Hyatt Corporation, and Executive Producer Tyrone Studemeyer, and featuring our exclusive and heartwarming video and music tribute performance to Jesse L. Jackson by special guest entertainer, award-winning big band jazz recording artist Baritone.
Welcome and thank you for joining us at our 2018 MLK Day celebration, Inclusion for Us All. Please draw your attention to the screen for our video, World of Understanding.
From airplanes to moving trains, building bikes to simple things, like fighting for equal rights or pushing for social change. When people come together, they do brilliant things. Their ideas move with purpose. They scream. They get loud. They shift the very world around us. They make new music and sing new songs. When people come together and allow their commonalities to supersede their differences, they cloak themselves in a suit of armor, galvanized by open-mindedness, and wield a sword of understanding, cured in the flames of love. A blade so sharp that it renders the threat of indifference, stereotypes, and prejudice null and void, and the barriers of language and race, religion, sex, and sexual preference invalid. You see, there are over 7 billion people in this world. And when someone joins someone and they join someone, well, that's when understanding becomes the new drum to which we collectively march. It's timber vibrating at a frequency that shatters glass ceilings and brings down dividing walls. But we cannot walk a mile in one another's shoes until we get close enough to put them on. And we cannot step foot into this new world of understanding until we all acknowledge, much like a group of men and women did in this very place 50 years ago, that crossing the threshold into this new world cannot happen divided, but together. Yeah, together.
And now, a tribute to Jesse L. Jackson
I may be
Sr.
poor, but I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. I may be uneducated, but I am somebody. Many of you really believe
No complaints
that you're inferior.
and no regrets.
You really believe that
Still believe. Ladies and gentlemen, award-winning recording artist Baritone.
For I have learned that all you give is all you get. So give it all you got. I've had my share. I've drank my food. And even though I'm satisfied, I hunger still to see what's down another road, beyond the hill, and do it all again. So here's to life and every joy it brings. Yes, here's to life, to dreamers and their dreams. Funny how the time just flies, how love can go from hellos to sad goodbyes, and leave you with the memories you memorized to keep your winters warm. there's no less than yesterday. And who knows what tomorrow brings or takes away. As long as I'm in the game, I wanna play for life, for life, for love. So here's to life and every joy it brings. Yes, here's to life for dreamers and their dreams. May all your storms be weathered, and all that's good can
Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Here's to life. Here's to love. Here's to you. May all your storms be weathered, and all that's good get better. Here's to life. Here's to love. Here's to you.
Obviously, I introduced the wrong video. Took right up where I was going. So I gave you a hint of a video you're going to see later, but that was a wonderful tribute. Please join us, give a great welcome to our honoree for today's King celebration, Dr. Reverend Jesse L.Jackson Sr.
Let me express my thanks for that tearjerker down memory lane. I am delighted to be again here with my friend and brother who has the virtue of his own character and work, and there's none like him who made this happen today. We should give a big round of applause. Tyrone Stoudemire. Tyrone, give it up for Tyrone. Give it up for Tyrone. On your feet, like make him feel real good about himself. 50 years ago, we were denied access to public accommodations in the South for the most part. The day Dr. King gave the speech in Washington, from Texas across to Florida to Virginia, we couldn't use a single public toilet. We couldn't rent a room at Holiday Inn. We could not buy ice cream at Howard Johnson. My high school senior class could not take pictures on the lawn of state capitals. We'd go to the Hyatt in Atlanta. Dr. King had his last convention at the same Hyatt in Atlanta, to be inside that place for 4 days, and Sidney Poitier gave the speech that night, Mahalia Jackson sang, and so we thank God for Hyatt 50 years ago and 50 years later. Put your hand together for Hyatt 50 years ago and 50 years later. Woo! As I look in your faces, this is a kind of Martin Luther King Jr. gathering today, a little United Nations you look like to be today. We have survived apart in our little cocoons. The biggest challenge is learning to live together in a more civilized, higher level, away from the polarization, the meanness that separates us, and the madness. When there are walls that separate us, on the other side of the wall is ignorance and hatred and violence and meanness. When walls come down, bridges are built, we're all made better. You plant two seeds in the ground of equal strength. Water both, one will grow taller with multiples of fruit, one will be stunted. Taller is not better, it had access to photosynthesis, some call it the sunshine. It could grow. When walls come down, we can all grow. That was Hyatt's philosophy 50 years ago. I'm glad to be a part of this today. Dr. King's last staff meeting, January 15, 1968, we were about 30 of us meeting in the basement of his church. He spent his own last birthday. It was a challenge to us, Brother Brazier. That day, he had breakfast with his family around 8 o'clock. Came to church around 10 o'clock with blue jeans on and a windbreaker jacket and sports shirt. About 10 people from Appalachia, with whom we'd never worked with, Appalachian whites. Coal miners and cotton workers had to find common ground. Jewish allies, Al Lowenstein from New York, peace activists, Latino Americans, Chavez group from Southwest Texas, Native Americans from the reservation, blacks from Deep South. That we sat together that day trying to figure out how to build a poor people's campaign. Man with huge and big ideas. 50 of us, and we're going to change the whole world. We were about that proposition. We had won the Montgomery bus boycott struggle. We changed the law. We earned the right to vote. Now that we stood 50 years later, trying to change the world for, he said there should be a floor beneath which no one should fall. Healthcare, education, housing, and jobs that pay. That was his mission. Around noontime, Zonona Clayton, or the cake in around noontime, says, "It's your birthday. You forgot it was your birthday." We laughed and ate all the cake. We drank the punch. And around 2 o'clock, Al Lowenstein began to give a peace activist address on how to end the war in Vietnam. He spent his own last birthday on the big idea of ending poverty, in the war, shift from killing 3 million Vietnamese abroad and 55 million Americans at home to healing and building. He spent his own last birthday healing and building. He was a short man with big ideas. Today it becomes our burden as we seek multiracial, multicultural living for all of us on the pedestal of hope. None of us is any kind of hole of degradation. We're all on pedestals. God placed us on a high place. We must live up to our possibilities and to our potentials, learning to live together as brothers and sisters and not die apart as fools is the King dream. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Stay here for one moment, Reverend Jackson. Stay here for one moment. The Chief Executive Officer of Hyatt Corporation, Mark Hopi-Mazian, would like to present you with the award, as well as, we know you don't celebrate yourself that well, so we got to keep giving you some accolades. Mark?
Thank you very much. Reverend Jackson, you've done us all a great honor by being here today. And thank you for the reference back to 1967 in Atlanta, because for many of us that is the birthplace of Hyatt, the modern version of Hyatt. But for a company that's been dedicated to caring for others, recognizing that in order to care for someone, you have to be able to practice empathy and understand them, walk in their shoes. It's a special, really special honor to have you here. And as a Chicagoan, a special opportunity for us to recognize you for a lifetime of work dedicated to inclusion, but so much more than that. So thank you for being here. And we do have a award that we would like to leave with you, which is really about inclusion for us all. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. I would, thank you. I'd appreciate a free suite for the weekend.
As we conclude, please welcome to the stage our Global Vice President of Inclusion and Diversity, Tyrone Studemeyer.
Thank you. The key and success of a successful event is to start on time and to end on time. And we're going to end on time, but I couldn't end without saying thank you to each and every one of you for participating today. But a special thanks to our panelists and our moderator, Robin Robinson, who's an ambassador for Hyatt. Robin has been with us since we began our diversity journey 3 years ago, helping us to create these programs to be able to bring insights to our corporation. And we thank you for being our Hyatt ambassador. We certainly thank you, Reverend Jackson, for all the work that you've done down through the years. If it had not been for you and the shoulders we stand on, we would not be here today. Your commitment to Hyatt Corporation, your Rainbow Push efforts, and all the, we just had for many, many years, Rainbow Push have had their Martin Luther King breakfast at our hotel at Hyatt Regency Chicago and have been stellar there. And I understand the grits was pretty good this time. We did a good job with the grits. All right, we're at there. It's a tough one for us. There was no lumps. There was no lumps to be found. So we're very, 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 very grateful. We're also very grateful to each of our executive committee members, our executive sponsors for our diversity business resource groups. And so they were all present today. I want to give them a round of applause. We're doing a lot. We actually have a development meeting going on right now. I see you had to step out for that. My peers and my boss, so we're doing a two-day HR meeting. They stepped out to go back to their meeting, but they all came to be a part of this because it's important to us. As we continue our inclusion and diversity journeys and into the future, it's important that we do this together. It's important that we unite as one, regardless of our backgrounds, our race, gender, orientation, height, weight, size, whatever it may be, that together we come to help to continue to be an organization that purpose is to care for people to be their best. And inclusion and diversity is a manifestation of that purpose. It is the outward expression of how we care and how we love and respect all people around the world. If we don't get it right as one of the oldest institutions in our history, then how can we expect others? Everything we do evolves around people. Example, at Hyatt Regency Chicago, there's more than 70 cultures under one umbrella. It's a global destination. At any given time, we could have 100 different cultures under one umbrella. So it behooves us to get there and to stay there and to be an example for others to follow. I bet you, Dave, my brothers and my sisters, that each of us is given 24 hours a day to do what we will. You have been informed and have been charged to do something different in your next 24 hours. What difference will you make to make the world a better place to work, a better place to live for everyone around the globe? Now, if you enjoyed this program, I'm Tyrone Studemeyer. If you didn't, then I'm Donald Trump.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love.